Hi, and welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Intuitive Guidance with Torniamo. Today, we are joined by Hugo, who is a Taiwan-born, London-based, multidisciplinary artist and sonic wellness practitioner. His work explores consciousness, awareness, and the relationship between sound, body, and perception. Through sound, installation, and performance, he creates spaces that invite people to slow down, reconnect, and return to a deeper sense of presence. Welcome, Hugo. I love all of those words, slowing down, presence, perception. I think that's really, really beautiful. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the podcast. It's such a pleasure.
Hi everyone, I'm Hugo.
Hi, Hugo. Um, so where I would really like to understand and where I would really like to start, because I think it often says so much about us. I know that my origin story has had a huge impact on where I am today and the work that I choose to do for me, It was my grandmother that led me to this work. And I suppose I'm curious from your perspective, like take the listener back to the beginning. Like, what is the origin story? What was the moment or experience that first drew you towards the path of working with sound?
Um, I believe sounds can give people kind of like calm energy and like safetyness and soothing feelings when I was like pretty little.
Yeah.
And I remember like when I was like 5 years old, my mom's always tell the stories for me like before bed, and I will lie on her bellies and listen to her voice and listen to the sound of her belly sounds like
Mm,
sound of the waves and like an ocean sound. And at that time, I feel like very comfortable and like
mm,
very intimate. And I remember like my first instrument is from elementary school, like primary school. My first instrument is called 古筝. So it's
mm,
like a Chinese instrument. It has a lot of strings, and at that time, we stick like a fake nails to play with it. It's like this.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and from right now, I maybe forgot how to play that instrument, but I remember the joy of it, and I really enjoy in that time. Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah, it's so interesting what you were saying there about the sounds of the ocean, isn't it? Because that's two different, like, it's interesting because obviously the ocean produces a sound naturally, whilst it's also different with an instrument, right? Which is sort of separate from nature, but it's still a part of nature. As a part of my meditation practice, I often visualize and imagine the ocean and like trying to listen to the sound of the ocean within me as a part of like the calming experience. So what was it about your mother, the ocean? And it is interesting, you made me think about how our parents sing us a lullaby, right?
what does a lullaby means?
A lullaby, it's like a baby song, a
Oh,
song
okay.
that you sing for your babies, basically, and it's perhaps often the first introduction for many people to sound and the soothing and calming experience of sound, basically. That's what a lullaby is. So, how do you sort of relate to the sounds of the ocean today, like compared to how when you were like 5 years old and today, does it still have the same experience for you?
Um, I don't know how to answer it. I feel like if I listen to the sound of the oceans, it reminds me of my mom. It's
Mm,
quite direct, like the connection of it. And I really think the repetitive like wave sounds really
mm,
does like a calm texture and calm like qualities.
mm. So you had your experience with your mom, and you also had that lovely instrument, which kind of sounds a bit like a harp, right?
Yeah,
Almost.
but in like Chinese version, it's
Yeah,
different, but yeah, it looks similar. And
yeah. So you had your experience very young with your mother, and then that instrument. What about sort of adolescence? How was sound as a part of your journey through your teenagers and everything?
okay, so oh, I want to like expand. My mom also is a very spiritual person.
Oh, really? I love that.
So the reason why I connect with spiritual
Hmm.
because my mom take me to a session about shaman when I was
Okay.
like very little. This is not about the sound, but it's about like spiritualities. Like my mom is also very spiritual, so like she influenced me a lot.
Mm.
Um, about the sound part. Oh, the turning point that is very important in my journey is when like 2021. Um, I'm in I'm in Taiwan and I'm studying fashion design at the moment, but I feel like drained and I feel like overwhelmed at that moment. So I take a break at that moment and I went to a ceramic studio.
Mm.
And being as a ceramic assistant at that time. And that ceramic studio are like super spiritual. There are like a lot of crystals around the studios and like hanging plants in the studios. And at that moment, I met the owner. She's called Guan, and she is value um she really cares about the qualities and about the frequency in the studios. So whenever we start to play the clay, she will guide me through the meditations and with the singing bowls. And we also held a lot of different workshop connect with ceramics and with sound bass together. So
Mm.
this is my first time connect with uh, those instruments. Yeah.
Mm. So your first introduction to sound instruments like alchemy bowls was at a ceramic shop. I mean, I want to take a step back because I think it was so interesting that your mom took you to like a shamanic experience. That's really fascinating. I suppose what kind of shamanism is that?
Um, I remember like that is my first time connect with spirituality is about 10 years old. So it's
All
like
right.
a long time ago. But it's about it's not like super scary shaman
Mm-hmm.
experience. It's about like we sing amongst the fires and we
Mm-hmm.
dance together and like clinging about like family karma, etc. about that. I really forgot the context, but it's about that at the moment. And spirit animal,
Yeah, sure.
spirit guide, etc.
Yeah. So is this something that's a part of like, was your grandparents also spiritual, or did it sort of begin with your mom?
Speaking from my mom.
Ah, okay. Do you know what inspired her to go on a bit of a spiritual journey?
I think it's divorce. That I'm very honest. Like she really needs the power at that time, and yeah, and she started her journey, and yeah, she's pretty spiritual. She meditate every day.
That's hilarious. Divorce got
Yeah.
her on her spiritual journey. I think that's fantastic. And I mean, I think that's also something that often happens, though, right, is that there's a crisis, and that
Mm.
crisis leads you towards connecting with something which is deeper, which is higher, which feels more, I suppose, meaningful or something of that rather. That's lovely that as a part of your, I suppose, bittersweet in the sense of that it is your parents' divorce led you to then also have that sort of spiritual experience. So it's kind of like it's kind of beautiful, but also, I suppose also kind of difficult. And so you had that experience with the pottery and the meditation and the singing bowls, and you are someone who now work with sound. Like, how are you working with sound and the people that you're working with in this moment? Like, what is your practice in this moment?
You mean right now?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if I have to explain with someone who is really like logical person or
Mm-hmm.
who is like more left brain person, I will say it is about like soften nerve systems and it's about like turning the alpha waves into
Mm-hmm.
like beta wave or theta wave. But I think that is quite common and like superficial
Mm-hmm.
explanations. And for if I want to tell someone who want to know deeper, I will say my guidance is help people to go back as the pure awareness itself and
Mm.
go back as the pure beingness itself because the real us is not these bodies and it's not we are not the our thoughts, we are not our bodies. The real us is the pure awareness.
Mm.
Yeah. So I help people to stand back to put to the only observations itself. Yeah. Um, so if I can explain, it's like awareness is more like a sky, and the thoughts and the emotions like people feel is more like a clouds itself.
Mm.
So it's this um, impermanence. So when they come to my sessions, I teach people to go back as awareness. I guide people with like a pure awareness itself. So without like ego interference, the flow without the obstructions, the healing happens itself.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that sort of picture that you paint with pure awareness being the sky and then thoughts, feelings are the clouds. I mean, obviously, I'm an avid meditator, so I get what you mean, and I've had experiences of pure awareness. It is something, though, which is hard to explain, right, to somebody who doesn't do it for themselves. So I am curious. I'm curious about though. What's your like? Do you practice meditation now? Like, do you have a regular meditation practice?
Mm, not really, but um, I have my own practice.
Mm.
Um, for an example, um, I have a week I didn't say I this word, and I call these characters as Hugo. So, for example, um, if I want to say I want to use this phone, I will change a sentence as Hugo use this phone. So I have
I
I
love
have
that.
I have a week I didn't say I this word, and
Wow.
it's very magical because you feel like you have some distance between you and these characters. So you can live as a pure awareness and you don't take everything so seriously because you have a distance with
Mm,
characters and awareness itself. Yeah, I have my own practice.
so it's like Tor wants to use these glasses, but he cannot because there's a glare, basically. That's fantastic. I love that. I mean, I think that would be obviously if I'm in a session and somebody doesn't know, and I'm like, I'm about to say, I will guide you, and then it suddenly becomes Tor will guide you. I mean, there's something about that which is quite interesting. How did that sort of, did you, as a part of that experiment or practice, did you experience any levels of like dissociation, or was that sort of fine?
Sorry, I don't know what is dissociation.
Um, oh gosh, ooh, that's a
Dissolve.
good.
You mean dissolve? Like
Yeah,
we
so
don't.
I mean, some dissociation, I suppose, is also it's like it's almost like you have an experience of like split personality,
Oh.
right? Yeah, so it's like you lose your sense of your body, and people can find that very dissociate, like they can find that very uncomfortable, right? I think it's sometimes you can suddenly have an experience because of mental health reasons
Mm,
where suddenly you're like, this is not my body. What is this thing? And if you're not somebody who's used to that feeling, right, that can feel very uncomfortable in that moment. And one of the ways you get back to yourself, right, is to say, I am here right now. Does that make sense?
okay. I never take drugs before, but
Ah,
in the feeling of like taking drugs.
I think it's probably a bit like that. Yes. I think that's a good analogy.
No, I haven't tried it. Yes.
So how did you feel at the end of that week?
Um, I feel um everything actually happens by itself. You don't
Hmm.
really use your egos to control it. It's like a flow, it's flow itself. You don't need to interference. So you are at that time it's more like I am standing on the emptiness energy. It's like
Mm-hmm.
empty at that time. Yeah.
Hmm. And so when you guide people through these experiences of getting close to having a sense of pure awareness, like how do people explain it to you afterwards? Like what kind of how when they say like what do they say at the end of a session? Like how does it feel to them?
Mm, interesting. Mostly like people after my sessions will be like totally blank. They don't like mm, they don't usually talk a lot.
Hmm.
And the most people are like sleep, then I wake up.
Sure.
So I didn't like talk to them after my course.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but maybe like next time I can talk it more about that and
Yeah, yeah.
reflections.
Yeah, so I'm curious about because obviously you can pick up one can pick many different approaches to energetic alignment and healing, right? There's loads of different approaches. So why did you choose sound? Why did you choose sonic wellness in particular? Like why are you choosing to work with the practice of sound?
Mm, I think I didn't really choose it. It's come to my life, and
Hmm,
I'm also like sensitive to sounds. I can
sure.
like, listen to like very little sounds like during
Yeah.
I'm very sensitive to sounds and I also think like sound healing is the most direct ways to reach peoples because like hearing is very sensitive. Like you can close your eyes, but you couldn't like close your ears. So we are like catching signals like every single times. So I think, and I also think like the repetitive sounds patterns can
Mm,
help people to focus and to feeling a sense of like stillness. But like at the same time, I don't really feel like sound healing is the only way to make people relax.
sure.
Yeah. For example, like if some people feel safe through like touch, they might go to like massage. It's my right for them. If people
Mm,
might feel like relaxed through like yoga or exercise, I think it's also okay. It doesn't matter what method you use. It's it's about like truly helps you to return to yourself.
yeah, yeah. Because I work for a few different modalities, but I really do enjoy sound. Because of course I do singing, right? That's how I work with sound and creating those sort of sonic landscapes through like ambient harmonics that I create on the computer and then layer my voice into that, which I really like.
I heard before in on the internet. It's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's interesting because the thing is,
Mm.
I love sound baths where people use the gong or they use Tibetan bowls or the uke alchemy bowls. Um, and I love all of those experiences, but I don't know. My star sign. I'm a Leo by star sign, and so I don't know. I think there was a part of me who was just like, but I want to use my voice. You know,
Oh,
I want to let me be the instrument as a part of this journey. And yeah, so that's why I picked up singing and did it in that way instead of what star sign are you, Hugo? Just out of
I'm
curiosity.
Virgo.
Virgo, lovely. So it's just after me, basically.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
after me. Do you know your ascendant and moon?
yeah. My moon is Capricorn, and um, Capricorn, and my ascendant is Pisces.
Oh, lovely. Oh, wow. There's only earth and water. Only
Yeah.
earth and water. Yeah. Do you know how does the Virgo show up on a day-to-day basis?
Um, yeah, I need some like preparations before I do stuff, and I'm quite picky at sometimes. So in the small thing, and I like to plan it sometimes. But like my uh like upper star sign
Mm,
is opposite, is Pisces. So
mm,
sometimes I am quite conflict with myself.
sure. So it's like the dreamy Pisces basically. It's like, ooh, I want to dream up this thing, and then the Virgo is like, but how are we gonna do it though?
Yeah, it's like that.
How are you gonna do it? There's so many details.
Yeah.
But I think that's also I think that's probably quite a healthy balance, you know. I think because it probably grounds the Pisces, you know.
Mm. I also like to perform as well because um I also have Leos
Oh
in
yeah.
fire part. So when I take action, especially like when I'm playing sports, I'm super competitive.
Me too. Me too. And I also have three planets in Virgo. And so there's also loads of Virgo energy in my chart, basically. Yeah, yeah. Loads of Virgo energy, which I think is really interesting. And how that like shows up in my life. So you, in so many ways, I mean, I don't know how much of you do it just yet, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and where you are in terms of the intersection of like healing and art, because of course you are also a multidisciplinary artist, and I'd love to hear where you at. Where are you at right now? Like, how does those two things come together? And maybe they don't, and maybe they do. Like, I would love to hear yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Mm, in the concept I want to convey, I think like whether art or sounds, I think are are the same, are very connected. It's
Sure.
about like consciousness and wholeness. But at the right moment, I'm still in the universities. So I want to use like as much as workshop right now. So I'm making like installations and like projection right now. I don't really make sound pieces as a art pieces right now.
Mm.
That's
Mm.
um um and from right now, I think my art is more like abstract and more conceptual, more
Mm-hmm.
spiritual. And I think the sound healing is more like direct, and people can feel more direct to and more accessible to people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the difference, but the concept is the same.
Mm. And do you think that's something that you will join up much more in the future?
Yeah, yeah. I really want to connect with each other and to put it like very unique some bass in the market in this business.
Mm, yeah, I agree. I think the combining those two things together is quite nice. And I mean, I think that leads us quite nicely over to the next question, though, which is like about your creative vision, right? Because you're clearly a very, very creative person. So when you are creating, whether that's composing, performing, designing, a sound experience, like what are you reaching for? Like, what does it feel like when you just know within yourself that you're like, oh wow, that's right.
Okay.
Like when it feels like something just clicks.
Mm. So with the creation part, with the art part, I don't actually do planning. I always like follow my excitement and my intuitions. And I will say that I, I'm not the one who creates those work. I'm more like a connectors to the universe. So I often have the ideas and I just download it and just channeling and I have the new ideas and I just immediately see what kind of materials I can join together and it's happened. So
Mm,
a lot of times it's out of my brain and I don't know why it's happened, but it's happened. I just follow my excitement to do all the stuff.
mm. So you see yourself more as like, yeah, the channel or the conduit, basically. You're just like receiving and then allowing it to flow through you.
Yeah, basically, it's usually when I take a showers, when I'm like super relaxed and I get informations and I just create.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. How, if somebody came to you and they asked you, I want to do that as well. I want to become the conduit. I want to become the channel.
Hmm.
What would you tell them? Like, how would they go about doing that?
Mm, I think a key point is relax. Like
Mm,
use your brain because brain is like memories data. It's very, very limited. Mm, try to that yourself being like really relaxed and if you have any feelings, just take actions. I think that is the most important thing. Different people have different way to feel. And if you have some excitement, you just push forwards. You just try. I think that's the most important.
mm. So it's just try it, basically. Just give it a go and see what comes.
Yeah.
So to start bringing things to a close, I always do this. It's an optional ending to our podcast.
Mhm.
And so if you want to, I can pull you to tarot cards and bring forward a message in this moment. Is that something you'd like?
Say that again. pick a card and
So pick a tarot card. Well, I will pick a tarot card for you,
mm,
and just bring forward. Obviously, you can say no. That's totally fine,
yeah,
and you'll receive a message in this moment. How does that sound? Is that something
yes,
you like?
yes.
Cool. Well, got my deck out. Let's see. Is there is there a specific question that's on your mind right now, or do you just want to see what shows up?
Yeah, what yeah, I just want to see what's happened.
Okay. Well, have you had a tarot reading before?
Not really.
Oh, wow. Lovely. Thank you so much for giving me the privilege and honor of being the first person to pull some tarot cards for you. I always love that. Um, let's see what the tarot would like to bring Hugo for some guidance right now. Just do a bit of shuffling. This is also the shuffling helps me relax. You know, the shuffling helps me like relax and get into that slightly altered
Yeah.
state of consciousness, you know? All right. Let's see. Okay. So the two cards that I pulled for you, I pulled the Four of Cups reversed, and I also pulled the Five of Cups reversed. So that's interesting.
Mm.
Clearly, number four and five and nine, obviously, is quite important. Nine becomes September. Is your birthday in August or September?
Yeah, September.
Right. Okay. I think this is going to be, for some reason, I think this, your next turn around the sun is going to be quite important. And that's why five and nine have shown up, because that will be just around the time of your birthday.
Hmm.
So with the Four of Cups being reversed, so as you can see, I'm just going to show you. So upright, this person is sitting by a tree. He's like meditating. He's got his eyes closed. There's three cups in front of you. And then he's imagining, he's visualizing this other cup up here.
Hmm.
With this card being reversed, though, it's almost like the tarot is saying, I don't know if maybe you have been going through some sort of creative block, or there's just something that you've been working on and it hasn't really, it's almost like the channel hasn't been opened, basically. And I think what the tarot is talking about is that this is just a moment in time, right? These experiences are only momentary, and sometimes uh, the channels gets blocked, I suppose, because we're stressing about it, right?
Hmm.
We get too caught up in the stress. And actually, if you're feeling like you're getting too caught up in it, I mean, you just mentioned that you took a nap before we came on here. And it's really important for one reason or another. It's really important for you to like take a step back, I think. And like if you haven't been creating enough space for just mind wandering, the card is saying it's okay for you to create some space for some mind wandering, basically.
Hmm.
Um,
It's very accurate.
well, the tarot never lies. The tarot never lies. And of course, we've also got the Five of Cups upright, no, reversed. So here there's like three cups in front of him, and there's also two cups behind him, which is standing up, but he can't see them because they are behind him, right?
Mhm.
And so with the card being reversed, though, I think what this is telling me in this moment, because as you can see on this card, he is looking a bit sad on that card, basically. You know, he's looking a bit sort of befuddled. And
Mhm.
then it's reversed.
What's that mean?
I think what it means is that maybe there's a feeling or a thought or certain experience you had recently that you may have found a bit challenging. emotionally, and you're not necessarily allowing yourself to like grieve it, right?
Oh.
So it's almost like you're not allowing yourself to truly like feel the feeling. And sometimes it's okay to feel sad. You know, it's almost like permitting yourself to feel upset or feel sad because then you like process that emotion, right?
Mm.
And I think that's what this card is. I think that's what this card is talking about.
But
And I
like
th
recently I feel like a bit stressful, but I
Mhm.
don't have any like sad feelings or emotions.
Sure.
So yeah, the second
Sure.
part I'm not really,
Yeah, sure.
but the first one
Sometimes,
is like really
yeah, yeah. Are you allowing yourself to recognize that you're stressed?
yeah, but I know it's just temperance and I know I'm this year because like this year is a fire horse year
Yes,
and
yes,
a
absolutely.
good year for taking actions.
Yeah,
So yeah, I know it's just temperance. It will pass, but I
it
allow
will. Yeah, good. Well, I think what the tarot is perhaps suggesting is that if there is something that shows up where you suddenly feel a bit upset or sad, or maybe even a feeling of disappointment, like maybe something didn't go entirely the way that you had expected it to, then it's about allowing yourself to feel that feeling because then it's processed much quicker rather than sort of sticking to it, basically. I think that's perhaps what the tarot is speaking to, but I think it's going to be, yeah, I think it's going to be, I think April, because of four, I think April, May, and September are going to be important months for you. But I also think that this next year around the sun is going to be a pivotal year in terms of what you want to do next with your life, basically. It's going to be it's going to be an important year. I suppose also will you be stepping into a Saturn return? No, that's not yet. That's not yet. So yeah, I think it's going to be an important year for you, Hugo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Um,
Pleasure.
can I ask you a question about the sound bath?
Yeah, sure.
I'm really curious. Do you think sound bath is essential for life? Like like LIVE. I mean, is this okay to be like a soundtrack, or do you think the live performance is better than soundtrack?
Gosh, what a good question. I mean, I think they both serve their own purposes, right? I think that, human beings, we create or we crave social experiences that we do in community together. And I think that's a really, really important thing to do. And of course, the sound bath, if we do it in person, it is something that we do in community. And I think that sort of healing energy, which is generated in that moment, is incredibly powerful. But let's say you are somebody who can't either afford to go to a sound bath, right? Because they're not cheap. All you can do is to listen to a soundtrack. If that is all you can afford, then I think that can be incredibly powerful,
Mm, wow. Okay.
Because I also think that, intention, aura, energy, attunements can all be transmitted through a recording. I think it can be, of course, there is something incredibly specific and unique about being in a live performance. This is why we love going to concerts, right? Because it's almost like you become a hive and everybody's a part of that hive mind experience.
Mm.
Um, but let's say somebody has, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's say somebody has epilepsy, you know, they can't go to a concert because of the lights and everything that's happening.
Mm, 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 mm.
And
Yeah.
and all they can sort of muster to experience is a gentle audio recording,
Mm,
that means it will be incredibly powerful for them in that moment.
mm. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And
You know, so I think it's incredibly contextual. You
mm,
know, it's a bit like, for example, let's say in meditation, right? We always recommend people having a straight spine, right?
yeah,
Energy flowing upwards.
yep.
You know, my dad has an illness where his spine is bending. You
Mm,
know, doesn't mean that the energy won't flow just because he has a malformation, right? And so I think it's important that, yeah, it's about context as well. You know, it's about
mm.
context. Yeah. It's like crystals, for example. I mean, now I'm rambling, but, you know, I have an amazing geode standing right over there. It's like this big.
Wow, so cool.
You know, it's like this big. Um, and I
What
have that
kind
because
of
I
key
have,
color
go
is
on.
it? What kind of
Oh,
color?
it's an amethyst. It's an amethyst geode. But
Mm,
you know, not everybody can afford that. I'm very lucky. I'm incredibly grateful. I got that one very cheap from somebody who was being very generous. But if all you can afford is a tiny crystal, then that's enough.
mm, yeah. Mm. The reason I asked this
Mm.
question because like so many people have a myth about live performance is always better than the soundtrack. But like yesterday, I have to think about that, and I feel like people often feel more relaxed when they are in their familiar space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, my answer will similar like you. It's like it really depends, and it's have like different like pros and cons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I think it all has different pros and cons and depends on what you can afford and not afford and all that kind of stuff. And you know, this is something which I think is incredibly important as well. It's like we have to make energetic alignment and sonic attunements and sound baths affordable to people who also live in places where maybe it's not that popular, right? So it's yeah, it's very complicated. It's a complex answer, and yeah, like you said, I think there's pros and cons to both, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much for
Much
coming on the
you guys.
podcast. I really appreciate it. It's always interesting to speak to a fellow sonic practitioner, you know, who's interested in creating sound experiences. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Bye.